My dad is reconciling with my mom after she abandoned me for 20 years. I just stormed out of the house. Now the whole family is furious with me. I 20F was raised by my father 49M alongside my older brothers, Lyle and Kyle, both 23M. They're twins. Mom left us shortly after I was born, so I've never really had a maternal figure growing up. I've tried to ask my dad why mom left, but he would always try to dodge the question. Anyway, this kind of messed me up a little bit as a kid, because I would always blame myself for her leaving. And it also didn't help that my older brothers would always use the old trusty "your why mom left" card in arguments. During my middle school years, my mom began to call me and my brothers. She swore up and down for years that she wanted me back in her life, but didn't make any effort to get to know me. So that woman broke a lot of promises to me and my brothers. The last straw for me was when she didn't come to a beauty pageant I'd been excited for months. I know that sounds really petty, but at the time, it was really important to me, and she swore up and down that she would come. Of course, she broke that promise too. So when mom called to apologize for not doing so, I let that woman have it. I think the call almost lasted an hour and a half, and it was mostly just me cussing her out. Obviously, ever since that phone call, I've had no contact with her. But a few days ago, my dad texted me if I wanted to have dinner with him and the boys, saying that he was going to make my favorite meal. Of course, I agreed. I walk in the house, and I hear my dad and my brothers talking. Nothing unusual, of course, but then I hear a woman laugh. So I walked to the kitchen and saw my dad, Lyle, and Kyle laughing and talking with my mother. So at this point, I'm pissed and confused. And I think I thought out loud because I said, "What the F is she doing here?" Everyone immediately becomes silent until dad starts talking. Basically, he says that I need to watch my tone and that all they want to do is talk to me about their future. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Then my mother had the great idea to drop the bombshell that her and dad got back together and had been dating for months. I think you can understand how gooped I was from this information. But then Lyle tells me that basically everyone in the immediate family knew about the relationship besides me because they were worried about how I would react. So I'm still standing there, shaking with rage. So when my dad tried to grab my arm to sit me down so we could talk, I snatched it back and basically stormed out of the house. Now, I've been bombarded with text from my dad and Lyle, saying I was immature and making mom cry. My friends are 50-50 on it. So Reddit AITA comments this thread: "Many hobbies gal. NTA for how you feel. They blindsided you and then blamed you for your reaction. If you choose to have nothing to do with your mother, you shouldn't either. Realize your father is an adult, free to be involved with whomever he chooses. OP. I know he's a grown man, but I just don't understand what he sees in her. She literally left him with 3 kids to raise all by himself. But now that they're all grown up, she wants to come back. This whole situation just has me in a tizzy, to be honest." Emotional bonus 934. Focus on what you want. Do you trust your father and brothers enough that you want to continue a relationship? OP. Trust is not the word I would use, but I still love them very much. They've never done anything this hurtful besides Lyle. But what he does is tame compared to this. He mainly makes fun of my fashion sense. Emotional bonus 934. You have decisions to make. OP. I know. I'm just hoping I make the right ones. OP about Lyle and Kyle's names. Oh no lol. I changed their names to that for their privacy. Plus, it sounds dumb as hell, and I'm still pissed at them. Update. 2 weeks later. So, before I get into anything, I just wanted to thank everyone for the kind words and reassurance. I wasn't really expecting it at all. I also want to apologize for the late response to everything. I've been so busy with work and other things that I just haven't had the time. Anyway, with your guys' advice, I texted my dad and told him that I wanted answers about what the hell was going on. He agreed, but he said he wanted to have the dinner over at his place. And I had to tell him that he lost that trust when he tried to back me into a corner. He came over to my apartment, and I had my friend M24 stay in my sewing room for protection. Dad just started sobbing, begging for forgiveness. He kind of went on about how he just wanted us to be the family that we were 20 years ago, the family I don't even remember. And to let you guys know, these were definitely not crocodile tears. So I hugged him to calm him down, but I had to put my foot down and tell him I wanted answers, not tears. He calmed himself down a little bit and explained everything that I asked him. 1. Mom was very young when she got together with Dad, with a significant age gap. They started dating right after her high school graduation. 2. My mother had a history of drug addiction, something I had suspected. She overdosed once, and my dad had to rush her to the hospital. The twins suffered during this period. 3. It was an unplanned pregnancy, and my parents decided to put my mother in rehab during her pregnancy. She remained miserable, and she ran away to Florida after my birth. 4. Recently, my mom got clean, got a job, and wanted to apologize to my dad. They rekindled their relationship and decided it would be best to let the twins know first before they told me. It was nice to have this information, and I thanked him for it. But I told him, why didn't she apologize to the kids whose hearts she broke constantly? Of course, he started the backpedal, saying that I just needed to give her a chance to prove herself because the twins already have. Plus, it was a really SHTTY move not to even mention to me that mom was back, and I had to explain to him that I had given him another chance way too many times, and she destroyed that bridge beyond repair. But I also did tell him that I wasn't going to cut them off for it, but mom was just going to be the new woman, and that we needed to go to therapy without mom before we continued anything. Dad was a little upset when I laid down this information to him, but he did agree with the therapy and said he would tell Lyle and Kyle about it. He did tell the twins that Kyle was down, but Lyle was mad. He tried calling multiple times and wouldn't pick up. He started texting me horrible things. Basically, it boils it all down to me being a spoiled brat who needs to get over the past. I gave him a piece of my mind before I blocked him, and we've been in NC since. We also had our first therapy session, and it wasn't groundbreaking. It was just kind of like an introduction type thing and kind of addressed what we wanted to work on. I showed her my post when I was alone with her to give her more context because I can be scattered at times. She says she definitely wants to go deeper into my feelings about my mother, alongside my father and brothers, if possible. I'll try to give more updates if possible. Update. A small update. So I decided to upload this to my profile since a lot of people want to know how I'm doing. And it's not that big for an AITA post. Firstly, I'm doing pretty well. My time has been completely taken over at the salon that I work at. Christmas is just around the corner, and I have stuff and materials that I need to get. But don't worry, I've been making time for therapy with Kyle and Dad. We've been going once a week, and I think it's been helping a lot. The therapist has been helping me walk through my feelings about mom. She's also been helping my dad and Kyle as well. Kyle has since apologized to me about everything basically. He's even opened up about his feelings and opinions about mom. Though we're in a similar boat when it comes to that, Kyle is more anxious and scared about mom leaving again than mad like me. I'm still 50-50 on my dad. He has apologized for ganging up on me, but hasn't sat down to talk with mom and Lyle. Kyle literally had to be the one to yell at Lyle for basically going full psycho on me. Speaking of Lyle, he is still mad at me and still isn't joining us for therapy. Apparently, from what Kyle said, he's now mad at me for turning the family against him and mom. I've been NC with him and have blocked on everything, while Kyle has had little contact since seeing how he's been treating me. I'll post next time in AITA if I have a bigger update, but for the smaller ones, I think I'll just post them on my account. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.